Hello everyone, Nadia here. I hope everyone is doing well. Today is August 25th, 2017. Today we are officially 10 weeks and 7 days, so tomorrow we will be 11 weeks pregnant. Exciting. I wanted to come on and vlog because, I have all these random thoughts in my head, and I'm like, what's the point of vlogging if you're not going to put them out there, right? I'm sure thoughts that I am having, people who have been through the journey have had them, and people who are currently going through with me are having them, or people who will be getting their BFP soon will be having them. So I thought it would be cool to come on and share. But yesterday, hubby and I went to our first OB appointment, so that was exciting. So technically, we saw the OB at 10 weeks and 6 days. That was our first appointment with them. And that in itself was a bit nerve-wracking for me as well. So if I go back, our last appointment with our RE, or endocrinologist, for those of you who are not too familiar with the IVF journey, that's the doctor that we see who actually did the transfer of the embryo, and so on and so forth. So our last visit with him was at 6 weeks and 2 days, which was nerve-wracking to hear that we were graduating that soon, because everybody else's, or I shouldn't say everybody else, but many of the ladies that I follow on Instagram, or even on this YouTube channel or YouTube community, seem to stay with their RE at least until like 9 or 10 weeks. So the fact that, we had two ultrasounds, so we had one at 5 weeks and some days, and then the next one at 6 weeks and 2 days. And then that's when we actually heard the heartbeat, or saw the heartbeat on the ultrasound. And after that, he's like, yep, well, you guys are good. So who's your OB? We're going to go ahead and just send everything over to them. And we were like, oh. So that was interesting. And although our last visit with the RE was at 6 weeks, 2 days, we did continue with the progesterone and estradiol up until 9 weeks. And it was actually just shy of 9 weeks. I think we were actually like 8 weeks and 6 days or something like that, because we stopped at August 10th. So, I was talking to my husband, and I'm like, okay, I know many of the people that I follow, like some people take progesterone up until like 12 weeks, and I'm like, some people take it to at least like 10 weeks, So we did ask our doctor before we left, like, well, is there any rhyme or reason as to why you stop it at just around 9 weeks? And he's like, oh, well, studies show that the placenta usually takes over and does what it needs to do on its own by 7 weeks. And he was like, so we just give it to you a little extra after that. So, or to just kind of give you like some padding or whatever. And we were like, okay. But then, to get on IG or to get on YouTube and see other women taking it up until 10 or 12 weeks, it's like, okay, is there something wrong with my doctor? And I mean, he's a great doctor, and I shouldn't, tease and play around like that or whatever. But it was still times where, you have those thoughts and you try not to, because you know that, it's technically out of our hands, it's in God's hands. But there are those times when you kind of sit back and you're like, okay, God, so does this mean that, something, might go wrong because he ended it too soon? Or does he really know what he's talking about? If you see, 9 out of 10 women, taking the progesterone up until, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, why am I the one that isn't? So far, I have not come across any other woman on this journey who seems to have stopped their medication as early as I have. So if you yourself have, or if you know someone, please tag them and get them to comment just to kind of, I mean, I'm just curious, because like from the beginning, I think the first video I did as far as my medication protocol, that was very different. And maybe that's just the case here in Wisconsin. Not sure. Obviously, sometimes they may tweak it, for each patient, because each patient's body is different and what they need is different as well. So it could just be a matter of that or whatever. But curious to know if anyone had that experience. I know I saw a few people that were discharged from their RE's office around 7 weeks or and things like that or whatever. So that didn't seem to be too far off from what I experienced, but the progesterone, seemed to be a little shorter than everyone else's. So that has been on my mind lately. At 11 weeks, I'm trying to think my symptoms. I think between the 6th and 9th week, I was like really sick, like really, really, really sick. Always nauseous. Had to eat small meals and snacks and stuff because when I didn't eat, I felt like I was going to throw up, and I was actually throwing up. And then at the 10th week, it was kind of like I have small periods of nausea, and it's very, very mild. Not to the point where I'm throwing up. Previously, I was throwing up bile in the morning and things like that. 10th week, none of that. So, of course, your mind gets to going, and you're like, okay, did I stop the shots too early? Like, why are all my symptoms going away? It seemed like it was a few mornings when I woke up and like the breast tenderness and everything was completely gone. Since then, the breast tenderness has kind of come, like it comes and goes. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. I still have cramping here and there. Thankfully no bright red spotting. I have had like and this was starting around like the 9th week too. I started to have like kind of like the brownish spotting. Sorry if that's TMI, but started to have that. So I did mention that to my OB yesterday, and she did cultures just to make sure that, there wasn't anything bacterial, going on, and that it was just spotting. But when she looked at my cervix, she was like, yeah, it does look like you're spotting. But she didn't really say anything after that or make it seem like it was a concern. So that was that. So we last saw our RE 6 weeks, 2 days, and I made the appointment for my OB, but she was traveling and not able to see me until basically 4 weeks later, which is why I didn't see her until I was 10 weeks. So that in itself was nerve-wracking, like not being able to see the baby. And I feel like us in the TTC community, IVF community, are somewhat spoiled because we come from a RE, like where we're seeing the baby every week, and now you just expect me to go 4 weeks without seeing the baby. So I'm like, okay, God, this is just more of a confirmation that this is a faith journey for me. I can't see the baby, but I still believe everything is okay. I'm trusting you. Obviously, it's too early to get heart tones or anything like that, on my own, at least. So I'm like, okay, God, I'm just trusting you. And so needless to say, like once the OB appointment came around, I was very excited because I wanted to get in and just kind of get that peace of mind by seeing my baby again and, so on and so forth. Well, turns out that we did not get to see baby yesterday. I think, there's benefits to having a RE that works in the same hospital system as your OB. One, obviously, being that information is obviously shared electronically and she can access that and, see, what all I went through and so on and so forth. In this case, I feel like the downfall was when she saw me, she's like, oh, so you had an ultrasound at 6 weeks, 2 days, so we don't have to do that today. And I was just kind of like, so that was 4 weeks ago though. like, don't we want to just take a look, like being, and I don't want to call myself high risk or put that on me, but with everything that I went through, like I stopped the medication, like, don't you want to take a look? But it's hard for me, and I don't know if I'm just like, just being over the top because I'm going through IVF or because I work in the medical field, But sometimes I try to find that balance because I'm like, I don't want to be the overbearing patient, because I know how it is to be on the opposite side of the spectrum, or on the opposite side of the table or whatever, talking to the patient, trying to like reassure them. But on the flip side, I'm like, should I have just said like, okay, I'm going crazy and like I need peace of mind. Um, I need to see my baby. But then it was that part of me that's like, are you not trusting God anymore? Are you not trusting that, you're going to carry this baby to term. You're going to see this baby because that's what God promised you. So I just kind of like left it alone and didn't say anything. But I was really, like once I got home, it just kind of started to hit me even more. Like, I did not get to see my baby, and it's been 4 weeks. And so she basically said like how they do it at the clinic is you don't get your anatomy scan until 20 weeks. And that's basically like, or that will be the next time that I'm able to see baby. And I was like, that's a really, really long time. And maybe I'm just being over the top, but I don't know. But then they start talking about the genetic screenings that they can do in the first trimester, so between 10 and 13 weeks. And some of that is blood work, but the other part is to get a ultrasound where they actually, look at the baby's, I think, the back of the neck to see what the measurement is, and that kind of gives them an idea if there's like spina bifida or anything like that. And some people may think this is kind of bad, but I feel like I probably wouldn't have opted to do that if I would have been able to see baby yesterday. But being that I didn't get to see baby, I'm like, okay, well, I might as well do this testing, you know what I mean, so that I can actually go into an ultrasound and see baby, because I haven't seen the baby since 6 weeks, you know what I mean? Like, and I think once again, maybe I wouldn't be over the top if I felt like that was the norm, but following some of my, sisters and stuff like that, and seeing their post of like, them going to get the ultrasound or whatever the case may be, definitely made me uneasy. Like, why am I not being provided that? You know what I mean? So we opted to do the genetic screening, and we're supposed to be seeing the maternal fetal doctor September 12th. So that is even kind of pushed out. And I think it was because we waited so late to schedule it, because I got in so late with my OB. But that will be when I'm like 13 weeks and like 2 days or something like that. I think they, it has to be done between 10 and 13 weeks. So I guess me being 13 or at the 13-week mark is okay, because that's when they booked it. So we will go in and hopefully see baby at that time, but that was kind of disappointing too. But aside from that, at the OB appointment, they did a lot of blood work. Hubby and I spoke with the nurse for some time. They kind of went over what to expect, gave us a lot of information, encouraged us to, take a tour of the hospital that the doctor delivers at, told us about different classes and stuff that they offers. Different things like that. So it was pretty good information given. It was a pretty good appointment overall. It was just kind of disappointing that we couldn't see baby. And then they tried to get heart tones too. And, she's like, usually I don't try this early because you're still 10 weeks. She's like, because if you don't hear the heart, I don't want you to freak out and like go home and panic. But yeah, of course she tried to listen and she didn't hear anything. And, part of that is like doctors are trying to be in and out. And, I've seen some of the ladies on like YouTube and stuff that are at home, like kind of doing their own. And we kind of have the patience to like sit there and wait until we find it, so if it takes 20-30 minutes, we'll do that. Whereas, the doctor's like, I'll give it 2-3 minutes. If I don't find it, then, that's just that. So needless to say, I went online and I ordered a fetal Doppler for myself, and that has shipped according to my email confirmation. So I'm waiting for that to come so that I can just hear. I mean, if I can't see baby for the next, 2 weeks, it would be nice to at least hear baby's heart rate, or, hear baby's heartbeat. It's just something that, I think will comfort me, and just something that I want to do. I just want to enjoy that part of pregnancy. So I will maybe post a video once I get it to show you guys the packaging that it came in, and hopefully be able to find it and let you guys listen as I listen for baby's heartbeat. So those are the biggest thing that I wanted to come on and vlog about. And if you guys have any experience, with that, or any words of encouragement, definitely post. But the progesterone and oil, leaving my RE at 6 weeks and 2 days, not getting in to see my OB until 10 weeks and 6 days, and then not being able to see my baby at that time, it's just really, really nerve-wracking. But again, just trying to remind myself that we are farther than we've ever been. We're pregnant and staying pregnant, claiming that in Jesus' name, and just trying to really, really enjoy the journey and not be so quick to, oh, I can't wait until I get, to the second trimester, or, oh, I can't wait to get the scan to see if it's a boy or a girl and to make sure everything's fine, but to just really, really enjoy the journey. Because if I take so much time focusing on getting to that point, I'm missing out on the joys of what could, be going on right now. So that's kind of where I'm at, just trying to stay encouraged that way. Again, I haven't been posting much or doing any videos because I have been truly exhausted. My house is a mess, so if you see anything out of place in the background, please do not hold it against me. But thankfully, like I said, the nausea has been lightening up a bit. So hopefully I will be able to get back into the swing of things and get some stuff done, because I also gained 14 pounds since the transfer as well. I found that out at the OB yesterday, and that was kind of like, oh, I know it's for a good cause, so we're definitely not going to complain, but to see that you gained 14 pounds in about a 2.5 month time span is kind of like, wow, what was I doing? But I guess the answer is nothing, because I was so sick that I really wasn't doing anything. So it all kind of makes sense. But yeah, again, prayers to you guys who have had your baby. I know our IVF journey, LaQuisha had her two twins. So happy for her. I've been watching her journey from the beginning, and to see her have those babies and hold them in her arms, definitely a blessing. So pray that God just continues to cover her and those babies, and that she has a speedy recovery, as well as those of you who are coming towards the end of your journeys, getting ready to, go ahead and give birth to those babies, praying for a safe and healthy delivery. Those of you who are pregnant early on, just like me, praying for you that God just continues to cover us and these little fetuses, that they just continue to grow and develop and stay in there until term, or until God says that it's ready for them to come out into the world and to live the life that He has destined for them. And then those of you who are still trying, know that, I have failed cycles too. So I know how it is to experience that loss, or to go through that process. And while it's not easy, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So if there's any encouragement that I can give via IG, via email, whatever it is, just please feel free to reach out, because that's what we're here for. But just be looking out for a video in the next, 2 to 3 days. I'm hoping that my Doppler comes within the next 2 days. So once I get it and figure out what I'm doing with it, I'll definitely post the video. Talk to you ladies soon. Bye.